Hello everyone, my name is Luke, and the world's first round 600 in Cold War Zombies has been achieved. And if you're at all familiar with high round zombies games, you would know that with very few exceptions, usually the world record highest round on a map is usually in the one player category. And in the past, this has usually been not just because there are less zombies, but usually because people will disconnect from their games, people will crash, anything could really happen. But this time around with Cold War, the world's first round 600 has been achieved in a 4-player co-op game. The group of people to pull this off are Scott, Z Spider, Pumda, and Not AJ. So with the introduction out of the way, let's begin breaking down their game. First things first, rest in peace Uncle Phil. I'm kidding, not really, but still, we need to discuss a few key parts of this high round for people who might not be so familiar with high round zombies games, or at least Cold War zombies. There's a common misconception that I see on my videos all the time that in Cold War zombies you can't go past round 255, and that simply isn't true. So after round 255, you won't see a round counter for round 256, and then it begins to count up again on round 257, showing from round 1. That's why high round players have basically subverted this whole thing by having a round 256 plus on their screen, and in the gameplay that you'll be seeing, round 512 plus. So you take that number and then you add it next to the number that is to the right of it, the actual round counter, and you can see what round they're actually on. I know it's a bit of a pain in the ass, I'm sorry about that, it's out of my control, but Treyarch just didn't program their game to actually count up the rounds properly, so in order to know what the round actually is, you need to have that little equation right there. And secondly, because of this, I see all the time people saying that these games aren't legit, and oh, maybe they're on round 150 and not round 400. Well, I can promise you this game is legit. It was streamed from start to finish, the entire thing, there is nothing missing. I can promise you the round is correct. So with that basic knowledge out of the way, we can really begin breaking down what actually happened here. And yes, this was actually a 4-player co-op game where they actually jumbled around what platform they were playing on in the middle of the game multiple times. And if you're wondering how that's possible, it's because of cross-platform play being enabled. It's sort of a new feature to Call of Duty, but it's actually working out incredibly well, especially for this game. The one thing that has not changed throughout the game though is that Scott is playing on console and he hasn't changed platforms the entire game. I actually believe that he is the host for this game because the PC version is less stable than the console version. So this group wanted to have someone that they thought wouldn't crash very early on and could continue their game pretty much indefinitely, so as long as Scott doesn't crash, then the game will be fine, but all the other PC players could just disconnect and crash and whatever it is all they want, and it wouldn't end their run. This is actually allowed in the high round rule set that is laid out for everyone and that everyone does follow. You can disconnect as much as you want, you can crash, you can do whatever you want, basically as long as everyone is back in the game by the end of the current round that they disconnected on. And basically, if you wanted to, you could actually play one single round on Xbox, PS4, and then PC, and just continuously just disconnect and then reconnect all you want. It's actually allowed to happen, and that did happen at some point in the round 400s. I know that's a bit technical, so let's move on to what they actually did in their game as far as their high round strategy is concerned. And they really did what most high round games do on Cold War. They stood on the knocked roof with their ring of fire, the ray gun, and an LMG as their secondary weapon. One person will use their ring of fire and their ray gun, while everyone else slowly fires away at the zombies with their LMGs. This is actually quite smart because with the zombies maxing out on health at quite a low round, an LMG fully pack-a-punch can still do quite a lot of damage and kill a ton of zombies. Especially when you're standing in the ring of fire, you get a 3 times damage boost to your weapons, so that LMG is going to do a lot of damage. And with 2 other players doing the exact same thing, you don't really need to worry about it all that much. You don't need to worry about zombies getting through or getting overrun. You're always pretty much going to be fine. But what you do need to worry about is your timing, because once one person's ring of fire runs out, another person needs to have theirs ready to go and pop it as soon as the one person's ends. You kind of need to be on top of this because Once that damage boost goes away and zombies aren't dying to the ring of fire, you can get overrun. But once ammo does become low, because it will quite a few times throughout a round, they all simultaneously run down for ammo with 1 or 2 people throwing a decoy grenade just to distract the zombies. It's quite a quick process. They can do it in about 10 seconds, so they don't really need to worry about that much, but someone will go down once in a while. Also, if you're wondering about armor, this team doesn't really ever go to an armor station because it's just slow and it's dangerous, to be honest with you. So what they did is they chose to take more downs in their game and get their armor from the armor vest that drop from the zombies, or to get their armor from carpenters that fully restore it all the way. Again, it just helps to save time, and it's dangerous to go all the way down to the pack-a-punch area to go and get their armor, and it's just a big hassle that they didn't really need to go through, especially because they aren't really getting hit that much. And if they do take it down, then someone could just revive them really quickly. It's super easy, and it's just something that they could just really cut out of the game. But there isn't much more else to actually say about their strategy other than just you need good timing and everyone needs to be in sync. So let's talk about stats a little bit for their game. And before I do that, I should actually mention that they're actually still going. They haven't died in their game yet, or they haven't crashed either. So yeah, this game is still going. I just wanted to make this video now because it's such a big milestone for Cold War. As far as their downs are concerned, no one's actually too sure how many they have either, and this is because when you leave a game and then rejoin it, it resets your downs and your kills and everything else, so no one's really too sure how many there are. We do know that because Scott is the host and he has 27 downs, that we can assume that the rest of them have roughly the same amount, so we'll say that the entire team combined has about 100, we'll say. And co-op games on every map and every single zombies game typically have a lot of downs, so this isn't really a case of Cold War where people are just spamming self-revives. No, just co-op games in general have a lot of downs. They also have roughly 1.6 to 1.7 million total kills throughout their game. And the reason that I say roughly is because we don't actually know how many kills they have. This is because after every 65.3 thousand kills, it resets back to 0 and continues to count up again from there, and then another 65.3k it resets again. This is just something that happens in the game and you have no control over. It also happens to critical kills, it happens to your salvage, and basically anything else as long as it can get up to 65,000. So the team has had to roughly estimate how many kills they have at this point, but still, having over 1.5 million kills by round 600 is insane. And lastly, as I mentioned earlier, they've been playing this game for about 6 days with 70 hours of total playtime. Usually the team plays for 12 to 20 hours at any given time, with one player taking a break just by sitting at the back or taking it down, so the entire team doesn't have to stop just because of one person. That's actually quite smart because, yeah, why would you stop an entire game just because one guy has to go get some food or he has to go to the bathroom? It just doesn't make sense. So, and especially because you don't need all 4 people to be shooting at any given time. Usually it's just the people contributing a little bit, but mostly the ring of fire and the ray gun does pretty well and keeps off all the zombies. That's it for the quickfire stats at you guys though. As I said, this team is still in their game right now and are paused on round 601, and I'm honestly not sure how long this is gonna go for. Honestly, this game could reach round 1000 or it could reach round 610. No one's really too sure at this point. I think we're all sort of just holding our breath waiting for the game to just finally crash at some point. But it's still just mind-blowing to me that the 4-player record passed the solo one, I think for the first time in quite a long time. I don't remember the last time that this has actually happened. And as far as just the 4-player leaderboard is concerned, the second place game is 240 rounds lower. And if you take away Scott's other games with different teams, the second place game is only round 271. So these guys really pushed a 4-player game to its limits, and you guys should definitely go and check out this entire group, which will be linked in the description below, if you guys want to see what goes and happens with this game, and just to see how far a crazy group of individuals can push Cold War high rounds. But don't go just yet, because if you guys could do me a favor real quick of leaving a like on the video, because I would really appreciate that, honestly. Also, we're only 700 subs away from 90,000, so if you guys like zombies high rounds, then I'm your guy and you should definitely subscribe to the channel. And leave me a comment telling me what's your highest round on any zombies map at this point, and I'll pin one of them, you know. My highest round, I think, is around 140 on Black Ops 1 Ascension. It's been quite a few years, honestly, and I haven't gone for high rounds in a long time myself. But yeah, tell me what your guys' highest round is. Anyway, I'll stop rambling. I love you guys so much. Thanks so much for watching. Like I said, check out all these guys' link in the description down below. Thank you to them for letting me use the footage and actually tagging me in a bunch of tweets on Twitter. I knew about the game, but thank you guys for keeping me updated. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.